Alright, what's going on everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another video. Right behind me and by the title of the video, you guys should already know what it's about. We are basically doing a build breakdown on the CRX. Over the last couple days, I've been compiling a few different parts along with the market prices for those parts, just to kind of do like a rough overview of the build. Now, I'm not going to be including little things like the ABS plastic that I used to make the bumper, stuff like the little flashlight I have inside, the chassis itself, headlights, stuff like that. We're going to try to keep away from that. I want to do more about like the categories for the all-wheel drive aspect of it, the electronics aspect of it, and the engine. Now, when I did this breakdown for the Integra a couple months ago, it's actually been almost about a year actually, now that I look back on it. There were a few things that I left off. Obviously, we're going to try our best to get everything compiled up and try to include as much as we can. Just in case if I forget anything, I will try to leave it down in the description as well if I left something. But yeah, we are going to dive right into it. And if you guys aren't familiar with the channel, this is the all-wheel drive Honda CRX. It's based off of a first generation CRV with a B20. This is the non-VTEC motor of the B series. And this is, in this particular case, it's a stroker motor. So we put a 95mm Eagle crank, did the necessary accommodation to make it work in this motor, and we made it into a 2.1, 2.2 liter almost, given the bore size that we have. Anyways, let's dive right into it, starting on the all-wheel drive aspect of it. The transmission comes, like I said, out of a first generation CRV. The market price for it right now is give or take maybe like $100 depending on where you buy it from. It goes for about $700, and that's including the transfer case. Most dealers will sell it with either the axles or the starter. Some have the shift cables and the shifter with them. Really depends where you get it from, but pretty much just like a market price right now, I'd say $700 for that transmission. The mounts are from Hasport. They are $400 market price. The Phantom grip that I have in it, you can find them anywhere from $5 to $100. Depends where you buy them and how long you want to wait for shipping and whatnot. Generally, you find them for about $40 on eBay with 1 week shipping. So let's put $40 down for that. Then we have the drive shaft that I'm using out of this is a Land Rover with the viscous coupler out of the Freelander, if I'm not mistaken. With the fabrication, I'm talking about like material, welding rod or welding wire, depending how you're welding it, and us mounting it ourselves. We're not giving a price of a fabricator. The market price for that is about $200, and I'll add on another $100 for material and whatnot. So we're gonna put $300 down for that. The differential mount is by Odyssey Fab. It's essentially you cut out the rear subframe, you mount this bracket, you weld it into place, and you can mount your differential. That goes for $300. The trailing arms are from S1 Built. I wanna say they were $800 at the time that I purchased them. I think that that's the market price for them. I could be mistaken, don't quote me on it, but if it's off of 800, it might be by a couple bucks, so I'm just gonna say 100 for the sake of it. The lower control arms that I have for the rear of the car, which essentially offset the coilover to the back, that way you can have the axle go right through the area where normally the coilover would run through, those sell for $350. Fuel cell with pump and lines. Now I have a 20-gallon fuel cell in the car. I did it for two reasons. First reason was I wanted to drive the car a lot on the street. It is a street car. I take it to the track obviously, but it's pump E85. I don't have a station near me, so I wanted to be able to drive it as much as possible. So I have a 20-gallon fuel cell. That goes on eBay for about $100 or $120 if I'm not mistaken. Then I have a Bosch 44 pump, as well as the AN lines and fittings and whatnot. Just to add that all up, we're looking about $250 for the budget fuel cell that we have in this. Obviously, some people will go with a bigger fuel system, depends if they want to make a lot more power, or some people will stay with a stock tank if they aren't all-wheel drive, because with all-wheel drive, you have to relocate the fuel tank, since obviously you have a drive shaft that runs through normally where it would sit. So it depends on your power goals, obviously, but for this particular build, we're gonna say it's about $250. Then the Element differential / CRV differential, it's the one that we ended up pinning the clutches, so essentially it's the same. That market price is about $100. Some people try to tax them, selling for like $500, but you can find them at the junkyard for like $80. People on the market are selling them for $100 plus shipping. The rear axles, which if you watched our last video, didn't hold up much. Those were, I believe, $120 from O'Reilly's. Obviously I have warranty, so I'm gonna do another video of actually taking them out and showing the carnage of them. But 120 bucks for the rear axles. I'm not including the price of the front axles because with the B series or K series, depending how you're already doing it, that's already a factored in price. When you're converting to all-wheel drive, you just reuse your axles basically. But yeah, so 120 for those. If you guys watched the last video, just a quick overview. I'll touch more on the next one, but I got some pictures from the track, and one of the photographers saw on my last pass the front end lifted, the front end spun, and the rear end hooked. So suspension definitely took a big play in something that we have to stiffen up. So those axles normally hold. People are running 9s with them, so we'll just have to tinker with that. So let me just add this all up real quick, and that gives us a grand total of $3,360. Now this is essentially if you buy everything brand new except for the differential, the drive shaft, and the transmission, because obviously those are components from running cars you need to take out. But that's basically if you want to throw together your car from front wheel drive to all wheel drive. Whenever I give somebody an estimate that they DM me on Instagram to try to find out how much it costs, I always tell them be prepared to spend anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, because that's about what it costs to all wheel drive at least a B series car without going into the more expensive built transmission, things like that, you know what I mean? So if you want to do a built transmission like a dog box or something, obviously it's going to be a lot more expensive. But for a low horsepower street car, give or take about 3,000 to 4,000, maybe 5 if you do like the other expensive amenities, but I'd say that's about it for the all-wheel drive conversion aspect of it. Next page, I have the engine build. So with the engine build, obviously a lot of the parts that I put into this engine were used or I got through a trade. For example, the B16 rods I got essentially for free because I had bought a set of pistons and rods for B16 and I sold the pistons. The pistons that I have in this motor, I bought with a different set of rods, and I think I sold the rods. So I kind of made parts work from other builds that I had laying around. But so I'll just go over this real quick and show you what I spent or what it would have cost to replicate this motor build. Okay, so starting with the engine itself, it's a B20 engine that we started with. I got a bare block as well as a bare head, a P8R head and a B20 block. I'm just gonna put $100 for that because I think I paid like $50 for each. Then the things that we put around it are things that I had around the garage or parts that I ended up buying, which I'll list right now. So $100 for the bare block and head. Delta cams, be ready to spend about 80 to 90 a cam. Let's just put 200 just to be safe on there, including shipping and whatnot. So 200 for the cams. Springs and retainers, they aren't Super Tech, which are normally, I wanna say like $350, but they are still dual valve springs and retainers. Street price about 200. Intake manifold, it's the sheet metal one. Be ready to spend anywhere from like 100 to 200. I'll put 200 just on the safe end. Injectors, they're the Decas, so 100 bucks on those. Pistons are the Wiseco pistons with the big HD bris pin. That way it's, you know, nice and healthy because it's a stroker. $450 for that. Like I said, I got this stuff on a deal. I wasn't really throwing all this money at the car. But rods, they're Manly rods, so street price around $300 for a new set of those. The crankshaft, I got it for a super deal on eBay. I've seen them sell for anywhere from like 600 bucks to 900 bucks. I actually got mine for 300 shipped. It was a bid and nobody else was bidding on it, so I'm gonna put 400 on this because I think I saw one being sold for 400 about a year ago before I even started this build on Facebook Marketplace, so I'll put 400 for that. Type R oil pump, I put 150 for that. I think that's what it cost brand new at Honda. It's basically at that point just an OBD2 B series oil pump because at that point they're all the same. Then we added some shims, but the shims we're not going to count it because it's free. Cam gears, $80, the BMS adjustable cam gears. Header, 190 shipped. It's the Tri-Y header. Intake with velocity stack. For those of you who know the build, you already know that I have it. I'll do a little pan right now. It's the 4-inch from the pipe to the velocity stack, 11-inch entrance right here from proper fab, and then we have a bunch of welds that go from the front of the car to the throttle body itself. So right there we have, I'd say about $400 if you look at fab work and whatnot and material. I just remembered I didn't include the throttle body, which I think I paid 30 bucks for. I'll just add it right here at 30, and that brings us to a grand total of $2,800, which is an insane amount of money. If I would have spent everything brand new, I think I paid like $500 or $600 to build this motor, since I got used parts and didn't have to pay for the shipping and stuff like that, and I did some deals and whatnot. So $2,800 for a non-VTEC motor is just insane, but I could have done a B20 VTEC for like $600 and made more power, but like I said, we want it to be different or whatever. If I could go back, I would do B20 VTEC, probably stock block, but we already have this. $2,800 for the motor. Crazy. Next on the list, nitrous kit. So we had the nitrous spray plate given by Travis. Big shout out to the homie, thank you so much. We put it to good use. That normally goes for $200 brand new online plus shipping, and I'll just put $200. Then the solenoids, they're Nitrous Express solenoids for the feed, and then we have an NOS old purge that's just connected to that. The Nitrous Express one I think is like $170, and the purge one I have it's an old one that we had laying around, so we'll put street value for that like $30. So $200 between the solenoids. Then the nitrous bottle, brand new, I want to say is $270. We have a used one obviously, but it came with a few switches as well as the braided line and whatnot. So we'll put $300 on that. So as a total nitrous kit, let's say $700 if you wanted to replicate it brand new. Moving on, we have a few of the electronics, which I think is the last portion that I actually wrote down. You guys know that I have the Burton Racing Coil Unplug Kit, which is $350. He also does installs if you want. I think that's one of the options on the website. Make sure to check out the description. I actually have a discount code for Burton Racing. It's SB Tuning, as well as a link to his website if you guys want to check that out. Not only do I have the Burton Racing Coil Unplug, I also have the Burton Racing Fuel Relay, which is essentially a plug-and-play affair. He has a whole bunch of different chassis options that you can choose from. He sends it to you, you plug it into yours, you plug it into your stock fuel pump assembly, and you have a 14-volt relayed fuel pump, safe. That's $105. Then I put $50 for miscellaneous switches and wiring, and then the wideband sells for about $655. Or no, the wideband is $150, which is a grand total of $655 for the electronics of the car. So $655 on electronics, $700 on nitrous, $2,800 on engine build, and $3,360 on the all-wheel drive components. That comes to a grand total of, let me pause the video and use the calculator real quick, $7,515. That's all-wheel drive components, engine, nitrous kit, ECU components, the electronics and stuff like that. I didn't even include the engine harness, which I think I bought for like $150. So if you're gonna replicate this build or want to build an all-wheel drive car, I'd say budget around anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. Like I said, there's a lot of parts that I listed at market price and not at what I bought them for, because you can get things a lot cheaper if you shop around. So yeah, be anywhere in mind from $5,000 to $10,000. If I wanted to replicate it again, or if I wanted to put everything into the EG and make that into an all-wheel drive car, I would redo it a lot simpler. I'd probably stick with the same all-wheel drive components, but I'd go B20 VTEC, stock block, maybe a little nitrous, or maybe a small amount of boost. $600 motor essentially, $600-700, depends how you find a GSR head or a B16 head or whatever, depends where you live and whatnot, but maybe $4,000 right there, including the all-wheel drive stuff, and $1,000 into ECU, boost by gear, tune, stuff like that. So you could replicate the build for fairly cheap if you want to build an all-wheel drive car at home, but it's one of those things that you really shouldn't rush, especially since the market is so fresh for all-wheel drive cars. Everything is coming out new. Speed Factory is about to release their front-wheel drive to all-wheel drive conversion kit for the gear sets. There's just so much availability for the market to keep on growing. There's no reason to be rushing any builds. I have a lot of people who constantly send me DMs and show me their builds. I love it. I love seeing the creativity that you guys put into your cars. Something that I have to like remind people every once in a while, because they tell me, oh, I gotta get this done by this month, or I really want to go to this car meet, this, that, or another. I feel you, because I'm the same way. When I start a build, I want to get it done. I want to finish it as soon as possible, but life happens, you know. If you can't make this week's car show, go to the next one. There's no rush. Be patient. Build your car to how you like it. And as everybody says, it's always better to cut once but measure twice. It's better to be patient and not have to rush things and, God forbid, mess something up or just forget something simple, you know? But yeah, $7,515. That's about what I have invested into this car. Like I said, I've gotten deals within everything, but if I were to redo this car from scratch, I'd say it costs about $8,000 to build. Yeah, definitely, it's one of those things, you never get as much money as you put into your car when you sell it. Obviously, I'm not going to sell it in the state that it is, because if you guys saw the end of the last video, I hinted that we might be doing a turbo kit on it. We really want to do that for the next couple months, but I'm not going to rush it. There's some other things going on right now, so I got to focus on that. And yeah, there's just a ton of potential that you can have into cars. It's a lot of money, but the return on investment that you put from your pocket into the cars, into your happiness that you get back, because for a lot of us, this is what we have for our main hobby. This is what we do for our passion. So I think at the end of the day, it's worth it. It's just a matter of what level you want to get to. But yeah, I don't want to take up a lot more of your guys' time. This video was basically just requested a lot by you guys. Everybody wanted to see what the build breakdown was, as well as the prices for everything. So I hope it helped you guys at home if you want to decide if you want to go all-wheel drive, or for you guys wondering how the motor went together, as well as the components that we used. Very simple off-the-shelf stuff. If you guys have questions specifically on the build, make sure to check out the playlist that I have on my channel, How to All-Wheel Drive Your Honda. We show the step-by-step process of building the whole car, not only the all-wheel drive stuff, but the motor, putting the nitrous kit on, getting tuned, having fun on the street. Everything is on there, so make sure to go check that out. If you aren't already subscribed, make sure to hit the subscribe and notification bell down below, right here or right there, somewhere around here. And keep doing what you guys are doing. Enjoy your afternoon, morning, whatever time of day it is, and have a good one, even though that's the same as enjoy your day. Take it easy, guys.